Danny Phantom, one of my favorite shows growing up on Nickelodeon that I have fond memories of. That was always entertaining seeing Danny face his next foe. So I'll revisit this show and see if it still holds up, or is it just fueled by childhood nostalgia. Danny Phantom was created by Butch Hartman, who also created a very popular Nickelodeon show by the name of Fairly Odd Parents around the same time of production. The show premiered on April 3rd, 2004, being the first time we see one of Nick's most memorable characters. That follows the adventures of Danny Phantom, half boy, half ghost superhero, who must save his city from ghosts while dealing with the struggles of high school. The show's theme song excellently explains his origins in a catchy tune. One day he wanders inside his parents' ghost portal and accidentally triggers his activation, infusing his DNA with ectoplasm that transforms him into a half-ghost, half-human hybrid that gives him an array of ghostly powers such as the ability to walk through walls, turn invisible, and fly. That gives him his iconic transformation when he goes ghost. His jet black hair turns snow white, his blue eyes turn neon green, and his black and white jumpsuit he had put on before the accident inverts, with the originally white areas of the suit appearing black and vice versa. He uses his newfound powers to protect the world from ghosts, accompanied by his two best friends Sam and Tucker. I love how the show's first episode didn't start out with the generic origin story for the hero protagonist, but instead shows Danny a month after the accident dealing with his new responsibilities. When Sam changes the lunch menu to vegetarian, she awakens the ghost of the previous Casper High School lunch lady, who reanimates to bring meat back on the menu, and destroy anyone who tries to stop her. Danny learns how to use his newfound powers to fight the evil ghosts, protect his school, while keeping them a secret from everybody except his two best friends. That shows Danny isn't a natural at being a superhero, but must learn how to master his powers. The show uses a baddie for weak formula, having a different ghost monster Danny must defeat every episode, with low to no correlation between each other, that tests Danny's skills with dealing with the different powers and shenanigans of each foe, in a new entertaining way. The ghosts come from a parallel dimension called the Ghost Zone, an endless void where all ghosts reside on their respective island worlds. They use natural portal openings scattered across the world to break through to Earth. Even man-made portals like the one Danny's parents created, which gave him his powers, are an access point for ghosts to enter the human world and for people to enter the Ghost Zone. The episode Prisoners of Love is our first look into the zone, when Danny gets captured by the Ghost Warden and figures out his human form allows him to be untouched, exactly the opposite of the human world for ghosts. Throughout the course of the show, we get to explore more of the depths and intertwinings of the Ghost Zone. A side effect of Danny getting his powers is his ghost breath that acts as a spidey sense that detects nearby ghosts. How Danny and his friends transport the ghost back to the dimension is using the Fenton Thermos, as a way for them to capture the ghost on the fly created by his parents. Jack and Mandy Fenton are ghost hunters who create all the different gadgets the friend group uses to combat ghosts. They are oblivious to the fact that their son is a ghost, leading to a lot of humorous interactions. Due to his parents being ghost obsessed with consuming their whole lives, Danny and his sister Jazz are embarrassed about their parents. Jazz, Danny's older sister, is very overprotective and views herself as the most normal person in her family. She's the most disapproving due to her reluctance at first to believe her parents' silly obsession was real, until when she found out Danny was a ghost, unaware to even Danny himself, something that she kept secret until Danny found out in Season 2. Pivoting to the other two main characters who are Danny's best friends, Tucker Foley is considered the techno geek of the group, longtime friend of Danny who helps him capture ghosts, using his trusty PDA that he always carries with him to get out of sticky situations. He is very optimistic and sarcastic for a loudmouth that tends to get him in trouble a lot. His poor social status at school and being girl-obsessed makes him the comedic butt of the jokes, who sometimes favors his own self-interest and has a slight jealousy towards Danny's powers that change their relationship, but is always looking out for his friends. Then there's Sam, the self-proclaimed goth activist who is very outspoken about her beliefs in this man and many others. Bax is the mature and rational figure of the group. She tries to have Danny use his powers and abilities to better the world using her own agenda, but tends to get them into more danger with people and ghosts. Sam is a social outcast by choice, choosing not to participate in the social hierarchy at Casper High, making her seem cold and bitter trying to stand out in her own way. But what makes the dynamic of the group is Danny and Sam's feelings toward each other. That's always hinted at and teased throughout the show, mostly due to Danny's crush on Polly, one of the popular girls at school that Sam hates. Them being such close friends causes people at school to think their boyfriend and girlfriend to the dismay. Their complicated relationship thankfully doesn't take over the whole show, but lives in the background until the end of the series. The animation still looks clean to today's standards, that implements an eerie feeling with the background and music with the ghost portions. The action scenes and fights are always a treat to watch to see Danny figure out how to maneuver each ghost power, while implementing his own abilities to save the day, even gaining new powers progressing through his journey. The comedy, I would say, is decent for a 2000s Nick show that has a lot of cheesy jokes about nerds and popular kids for the time, But Danny's parents, Tucker, and even the Box Ghost are highlights to watch their comedic actions. Even Danny implements clips during his fight similar to Spider-Man, that shines light on his playful personality. Now I really want to talk about one of the major highlights of the show for me, and that is the villains that kind of make or break an episode. For instance, the most memorable ones for me being Technus, a technology maniac, Amber, a ghost rockstar that used her music to control people, Skulker, a hunter who likes hunting very difficult creatures such as Danny, who has such an amazing character design. Then there's Ghost Hunter, aka Valerie, a girl from school whose whole life is ruined by ghosts, motivating her to hunt Danny, that sense of an awkward dynamic when they become closer. Finally, Vlad Master, who takes the persona of Vlad Plasmius, the main villain of the show and arch nemesis of Danny, first introduced in the episode Bitter Reunions as an old college friend of Jack and Maddie Fenton, who was accidentally turned into the first half-ghost half-human hybrid due to Jack's failed ghost portal experiment blasting him in the face, causing him to gain ecto-acne, ruining his chances with Maddie, making him spiral into the idea of getting back at Jack. In the present day, he is a millionaire and highly experienced fighter when it comes to his ghost abilities, having a multitude of powers compared to Danny, who has sent multiple ghosts to Amity Park as we see early on in the first season to find and attack Danny's dad. He tries to convince Danny to join him so he can become his pupil and denounce his dad, but Danny of course refuses, causing him to make an enemy out of him. The first season was an excellent introduction to the world of Danny Phantom that gives you a feel and basis for the characters. That's a stepping stone for the remainder of the series going forward. Season 2 starts its first episode with the crew finding the Wish Ghost Desiree, in the middle of a dispute between Danny and Sam. During their bickering, Sam says she wishes she never met Danny, causing him to lose his powers due to Sam being the one that convinced him to investigate the portal that would change his life. Making Sam realize without her Danny would never gain his powers, forcing her to somehow convince the Danny that doesn't know her to recount the accident of the ghost portal. That ends with him regaining his powers and memories at the end to help save the day. The episode also introduces the iconic DP logo on his chest created by Sam. The whole episode does a great job of showing how much Danny and Sam mean to each other. Something new we see for this season is 2 one-hour-long movies, one involving the Ghost King trying to conquer the Ghost Zone in the world, but of course at the end of the day, Danny is able to stop him. The second being my personal highlight of Season 2, titled The Ultimate Enemy, which finally answers the question, what would happen if Danny uses powers for evil? Clockwork, the Ghost of Time, is assigned with saving the future, where adult Danny is an evil ghost villain that terrorizes the citizens of Amity Park. That makes Danny go to the future to battle his evil self and go back to the present to prevent him from becoming what he fears. That is an epic adventure that sees Danny question himself and must save everyone he loves. Such a fantastic episode to go back to that I may explore in a future video. Season 2 in my opinion is better than Season 1, ups the stakes for more thrilling villains and great adventures, also adding another character that happens to slip my mind at the moment. Finally, there's Season 3, only consisting of 13 episodes compared to the usual 20 for the first 2 seasons, being the show's final season that introduces Vlad in the first episode, running and then becoming the mayor of Amity Park, being a huge road bump for Danny that keeps him in a constant loop of the season. Being the last time we see many of the infamous villains and adventures of the crew, that is bittersweet to see, with each episode being better than the previous, building hype all the way till the end. So let's take a deep dive into Danny Fenton himself, who throughout the series has constantly struggled with his school and social life with mean teachers like Mr. Lancer who targets Danny the most compared to any other student. Dash Baxter, the stereotypical jock who is always bullying Danny, being a constant antagonist from the start of the show, and the girl he likes, Polly, who is obviously that barely notices him. That forces Danny to control how he uses his ghost powers, not to get back at the people who have wronged him or use them as an advantage to win social favor. That's challenged throughout multiple episodes. While keeping his secret identity is sometimes too much for him to handle, battling ghosts constantly and even his parents trying to capture him, thinking he's a threat. It never seems to end that disrupts his life, making him question why he keeps doing it, and that's where his friends really help, being a support system that directs him to the right path. Something I love to see is the protagonist being vulnerable and always cheering about his duties to save the world. Giving Danny so much more character depth, seeing his struggles and highs puts the series on a different level. The series finale, Phantom Planet, being a great conclusion to a fantastic show that takes it to an intergalactic lens, the final showdown between Danny and Vlad with the world at stake. That ties up loose ends and finally getting to see Sam and Danny be together, a sad but satisfying ending to Danny Phantom. It does still stand the test of time, being quite an enjoyable series to watch. I forgot how lovable the characters are and how fun it is to hop into each episode. That captures something that a lot of shows don't, a concise quality show that doesn't overbear its day. That brings up another conversation circulated throughout the years ever since the cancellation of the show, and that is, should Danny Phantom make another return in a continuation or sequel series to the original? Something I've always thought about since I was young, because I've always wanted to see more of the show I love. but I don't trust Nickelodeon and the show creator Butch Hartman to do the show justice for modern audiences. For instance, the decline of the Fairly OddParents series went on for far too long, which diluted the characters and overall quality of the show. That should have ended a lot sooner. The live-action revival on Paramount Plus doesn't even compare to the originality and quality of the earlier episodes of the series, which is a mockery to the franchise. I prefer to keep it how it is, preserving the brilliance of Danny Phantom, and wouldn't mind a one-off movie in the future. I had a really fun time revisiting the series from my childhood, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Please share in the comments down below what's your favorite memory or moment from Danny Phantom. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing to my channel to see me cover more shows.